Greetings, family. It is AlQamar coming to you a little late in the evening. I know many of you are probably getting ready for bed or sound asleep. And I know some of you are up. Hey, who's that joining me? So you may get this message in the morning or may not get it at all. Those who join me are supposed to be here. So I just wanted to have a conversation about the post that got a lot of attention on my page today about this whole awards, who was it, Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B scenario. And I don't necessarily want to talk so much about them in particular as I do about us and our response to these type of scenarios. Hey Clyde, how you doing? Is it enough for us to just be consciously aware of what's taking place right in front of us? I mean, is that enough? Or do we have a greater responsibility to be maneuvering in ways that that circumvent or counterattack or anything more than watching this thing play out with us as the players? It's like sitting in an audience watching a stage play when you are like the main actor in the stage play. But you're sitting in the audience watching all this go down. So, and I'm wondering, so I need your help to help me break this down and critically think about this. So, because I don't have all the answers. I don't. But I'm wondering if it's enough. If it's enough for us to just be sitting by and knowing that there are those of us who understand that there are some diabolical forces on this earth that want nothing more than to see us destroyed completely. And those of us who understand this and all the ramifications and all the nuances around what's going on, we can see it clearly where others can't. Is it enough for us to just be aware? Hey, Ola, let me know. Going back to Megan and Cardi and those young girls who are manipulated to for an agenda, to influence those who don't understand and aren't completely aware of what's going on. What is our role? What should we be doing? Should we just be mad and frustrated and get upset and talk smack and wait around for this thing to play out and get even more diabolical? So I don't know. So I was just sitting here thinking about that and thinking about what are some of the things that we can be doing on our end to change these dynamics for the better. So if we know that, if we watching the things in our community get more and more raunchier, the morality get lower and lower, you know what I'm saying, and the intellectual thinking get lower and lower, then what is our counterattack to that? So I know, most people, as myself as well, center the attention around the youth. because a lot of times, that they are the future. They're the ones that's going to lay the path. Toto says we have to act accordingly. Many young girls know Cardi and Megan, but have no idea who Frances Cress Welsing is. We have to understand our history and the paradigm we're in. I absolutely agree with that. Right. And so, and I'm speaking to those who understand, like you, Toto, and those of you out there like Toto who clearly understand what is our role. So, like she said, we have to learn, we have to teach the history. What does that look like? I'm sitting here thinking, and I wrote down a few things, like exposing the children to alternative music. Do we do that? I mean, it's one thing to tell our children to turn it off or don't listen or things like that, but they're curious. They're curious-minded. If they're anything like I was when I was a child, I want to know, what is it that my mother and father don't want me to watch and don't want me to listen to? I'm gonna sneak behind their back and see for myself. So is it really enough to just say, turn it off? I don't watch that. Don't let your children do that, because you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's enough. So do we expose them to alternative music? Do we expose them to underground music that they may not even ever have heard before, because it's not on the radio and it's not on the award shows? The people that don't ever get airplay, but are out here on a positive note and are very talented, that we don't big up, that we don't play up enough, that to get the proper airway, so to be a counter to these type of attacks. So that would be one alternative that I can see. Holding these record labels and record executives accountable. Why don't we do that enough? I really want to dig into that a little bit too. Why is it that whenever things like this come up, all the attention always gets centered around the artists, the Cardi B's of the world, and all the others like that, but never the ones who are actually pushing this agenda that they wouldn't even have a platform on a world stage. Like tell me, what award show was that? It was the Grammys, I think it was. You know what I'm saying? We don't run and control no Grammys. You know what I'm saying? Who was it? Whose idea was it for them to get up on that stage and do that? You know what I'm saying? Now, them people is not just going to allow them willy-nilly to do whatever they want. They know ahead of time exactly what's going to go down. Or they know what a Cardi B and what they about and what they pushing. And so why would they have them people come, them girls come there and do all that porn show on primetime TV for all the world to see? You know what I'm saying? So who's making these decisions? So why aren't we going deeper into who is behind all this and going after them? Do we believe that they're too powerful for us to take down? Do we really believe that? So we go to the ones who, you know what I'm saying, that with the least amount of power and bash on them. So these record labels and executives and people like that have a responsibility too. And I think, they should be caught. So the same way we create all these memes out here about our own people who's doing it, and they should be held accountable. Don't get me wrong. They should be absolutely held accountable. But why don't we ever see the memes about the record labels as often and as frequently going viral as the people who behind those? Them wealthy, elitist people that's behind these agendas. You know what I'm saying? It's time to start calling them out, because the power lies with the people, and we got to believe that. If we don't believe that we hold the power, then we won't exercise it. We just won't, because we really believe that we can't win. And I refuse to believe that, because I know my own power. And I know that if enough of us know our own power and collectively, forcefully get together and rally behind You know what I'm saying? We can move mountains. We can do whatever we want. We could shut this whole industry down that's out here promoting all this filth to our youth. And it's a dangerous, dangerous slope. I mentioned that on my page. It's a slippery slope. It's more than just social morality. This thing is deadly. You know what I'm saying? This thing is deadly for us. If the vast majority of the population of the people on the earth view the first thing they think about when they think about black people is raunchy, trifling, sexually, just, out of this world, just all the negative things that you think about. And if that's the first thought that comes to their mind, because whenever they turn the TV on, they seeing a Cardi B, or they seeing our brothers, degrading the women, and it's always about sex, or it's always about get the bag by any means necessary, or they're shooting your brothers and your sisters, and that's all they see, then that's all they know. That's just like if all you did, what you grew up, and all you ever known was Jesus was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white man. If that's all you've ever known your whole life, and as soon as you say the word Jesus, or you think of Jesus, that's the first thought that's going to pop into your mind. Subconsciously, you ain't even got to think hard. That's that image that's been promoted in your whole life long in your eyes. That's what's going to come up in your head. So that's the same way it happens with the world. The vast majority of the people, when they turn on that TV, they probably ain't never been in America a day in their life. You know what I'm saying? Never. In other countries and stuff. And they turn the TV on, and every depiction of us they see is deplorable. What do you think they're going to think of us as a whole? And that's dangerous. That's dangerous, because when shit start hitting the fan, and genocide take place or something, they expect to say all those people, they deserve to die. They ain't worth nothing anyway. They not civilized, because they don't understand. They don't know the people like you and I who live a civilized life. So it's the people who run these television and music and movie industries that display us in this. Yeah, we sit there and we go along with it for the money. You know what I'm saying? But my point in all that is that they have a responsibility too, when we need to hold their feet to the fire too. They don't get no pass. So we need to be out here raising our voices in opposition to them too. In the same way they use their platforms to bring us down, literally, to bring us lower, we can use these same platforms to do the same thing to them. So, two can play at that game. So I say, let's hold these record labels in this Hollywood industry and all these other people accountable as well. Create memes that destroy their image. That's what I say. Because the court of public opinion matters. It really does matter what people think and what people say publicly. That matters. Even to these artists out here, the people, they say, oh, I don't pay no attention to what people say online and stuff. That's bull. The vast majority of them, they read them comments. Or if they don't read them comments, they got people around them that read them comments and share with them what the people are saying. It's part of their job to know what the people on the mulling on the street is, what's going on when it relates to them. So they know. So I would also say that use your voice. Never underestimate the power of one. Never underestimate. Use your voice. If if it ain't nothing more than going on their social media page and expressing, to them how you feel about what they done. They human too. They people. They not beyond reach and approach. You know what I'm saying? Especially if what they're doing is damaging. You know, if what they're doing is damaging to the community, then they need to be held accountable. So I say use your voice and don't be afraid to stand alone either. You know what I'm saying? You know, and if you know goodness well that what they're doing is destructive, but they getting all this praise and accolades from those around them who don't have a clue. You know what I'm saying? You don't focus on that. You go directly to them and share it with them how you feel publicly, even if you stand alone. Because normally what happens is you may start out being the lone wolf, but it only takes one. There might be hundreds of people that's reading them comments or on that page that feel the same way you do, but didn't have the courage enough to stand up and be the first one. And as soon as you state your case, then everybody jump on behind you in agreements. So don't be so fearful to stand alone in what you believe in, and speak up and speak out and use your voice, even if you're nervous, even if your voice shake. If you know what's right, you know what's righteous and what's unrighteous. You know, your spirit tells you that. And again, I'll reiterate for those who just joined in, I'm talking to those who are consciously aware of what's taking place out here. Okay? You know, I know we have those among us that don't have a clue. You know, they hear what I'm saying and think I'm talking crazy. I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to those of you who understand clearly where I'm coming from when I say there's an agenda at play out here to bring us down. And they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? And they're doing it. For our young folks, you know, I think, you know, what happened to like the etiquette classes and the teaching of young folks, you know, the simple basic things of civility and self-respect. You know what I'm saying? How to cross your legs. And I remember talking to a guy that comes to the restaurant where I work on a regular, and he taught hand dance class at one of the public schools. And he used to tell me how, I think it was a middle school, and how those young girls didn't even know how to sit. Here's a man, a grown man, had to teach a young girl how to sit and cross her legs and don't sit in front of him with their legs wide open because he can see everything. So what happened to those kind of classes where we teaching ladies, the young girls, the simple things of self-respect? You know what I'm saying? How to cross your legs, and you know what I'm saying? How to, you know, be a young lady. You know, I think that if enough of us out there who understand the importance of the little things, can step up and do that, even if it's like online classes right here on line. You take a half hour out of your week, and that's your way of giving back to promote that you're going to do an etiquette class and bring all the girls in a certain age group, and you know, every half hour a week, and you're just there, you're going to teach them little basic things that they need to know about how to respect themselves better. You know, and the fellas, you know, and I'm speaking to the ladies because I'm a woman, but I'm sure the fellas, you guys have some skills and talents out there as well that you can pour back in to the young men, how to tie a tie, and you know what I'm saying, how to shake hands, a strong handshake, and how to properly look somebody in their eyes when you talk to them, you know, as relates to business and things, little things like that we've gotten away from. So that can be something small that we could do, you know, a lot more of us can do, as opposed to just being mad and angry about our situation. Let me see. Hey, Malik and Ola. Ola said, if it wasn't for King Jaffa, I wouldn't have the experience America. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Each one reach many. many, because that's what we need out here. We need to pull our young folks up. You know, it's not enough to sit there and watch the process of the fall. Okay, now what about the rebuild? Daryl said, you're a script writer, and you just told your attorney the same thing. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, writing the scripts, you know what I'm saying? There's all kind of talents in our communities where we could be getting behind. So there's Daryl saying he's a script writer. So, you know what I'm saying? What about those of us who are in that industry too, or can lend him some financial support, or have a pool of resources or a group of people that maybe you can get behind Daryl and, hey, once you finish writing your script or whatever you need, you know what I'm saying? What can we do to help get that positive message out there to even more people? You know, I do a movie night at the restaurant. I was pre-COVID, but I'm preparing to kick that back off. Friday nights, dinner and a movie, free. You know, we air a lot of different documentaries about the things that we don't readily hear about in the mainstream. We do that deliberately because our goal is to educate. You know what I'm saying? And so I know that you know, people like movies and they like going to the movies. So, you know, why try to circumvent that? It's just, you know, merge the two worlds together. So if it's something that people enjoy doing, okay, well, let's invite you out here to do a movie, but instead of watching some raunchy, filthy movie that's not going to benefit you anyway positively, well, let's play something on a big screen that you're going to learn when you walk away. It give you something to think about, something to consider, and could possibly change the whole trajectory of your life. You know, I come across books in my life that have done that, you know, so movies have that same power. So again, family, my goal here tonight is to just, hey, sis Hanifa, is to just talk about, let's talk about some solution-oriented scenarios that we could do in opposition to all this filth that's currently out here. Richard said, teach our children to be critical thinkers by exposing them to think about the past, present, and ask them what their future should sound like musically. I'm glad you said that, because that was one of the things on my page. I said, ask them open-ended questions. Resist the urge to preach. You know, as I wish I knew that raising my own children. Some of the things I know today that I didn't know then. Asking the children open-ended questions as opposed to preaching to them about what they shouldn't and should not do. And then you look up and 5 minutes later, their eyes are glazed because they done tuned you completely out. Their head's completely somewhere else because they don't want to hear that, as opposed to engaging them in the conversation. What do you think about what Cardi B and them did on TV last night? You know what I'm saying? And allow them to express to you what they think. You know what I'm saying? And asking, how did that make you feel when you was watching that? You know what I'm saying? Did you feel good about watching that? Or did it make you feel uneasy? Tell me, what did it make you? And then asking them type of open-ended questions that allow our children to critically think. And that does a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? Not only does it allow them the freedom of expression. So, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times that might be a prime opportunity to dig into even more deeper conversations about some things that they've even been thinking about, that's been on their mind, that they didn't know how to express. So you're giving them an opportunity to release some of those energies. And not only that, you're teaching them how to use both sides of their brain, left brain and right brain, because you're not telling them what to do. You want them to come up with their own ideas of what to do. So that's all part of critically thinking. So thank you, beloved, for saying that. That's a good point. So yeah, just family, I suggest that we get more into the mind of asking our children open-ended questions and resisting the urge to preach to them. They should know who their enemies are. I learned this lesson from Baba Imhotep up in Baltimore, the founder of PLM, Pan-African Liberation Movement. Powerful brother. He taught me that we should not sugarcoat the truth of our reality to our children. We should let them know exactly what's going on, the raw, unadulterated truth about our reality here in the hills of North America. What are we dealing with? Who are we dealing with? Who's behind these assaults? Why are they assaulting us? You know what I'm saying? With the real truth as to who our enemies are. And again, I'm going to reiterate throughout this whole thing, I'm not speaking to those of you who believe that we don't have an enemy. I'm not speaking to those of you who think that black people are your worst enemy. I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to those of us who understand clearly what's taking place, consciously and aware of what's going on. So again, telling our children who the enemy are, who our enemies are, and don't sugarcoat it, and allow them to feel what that means. It's not our job to sugarcoat the truth from our children. That doesn't help them at all, because what happens is we try to sugarcoat our reality, and then they get out there and they get stopped by the police, and when something go down, you know what I'm saying, that's unjustifiable. You know what I'm saying? They don't get any justice. You know what I'm saying? In what they doing, and now they confused and they hurt and they in pain and they don't understand what's going on because you didn't give them the reality of their lives. You didn't break down and explain to them that they have an enemy out here, a formidable force. Everything in nature has an opposing force. Everything. And we're part of nature. And for us to be sitting up here thinking that, you know what I'm saying, so many of us who are quick to understand that there's a God. If you know there's a God and God is real, ain't no spook God somewhere that live in the sky. God is real as you and me. And if you understand that, then why is it so difficult for you to understand that there's an opposing force out here too? That there's an evil satanic force in the world that all their existence is to do evil things. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, we got this notion that, no, ain't nobody out here looking to kill us off. No, God is good all the time. Yeah, he is. But even God has an opposing force. Little do you know. So, again, I think our children should know who the enemies are. The enemies of our rise are, and let them know, and then allow them to sift through them emotions on their own accord without you trying to protect them from the truth. And that way they're more prepared. So when they do get out here, they understand fully and completely who they up against and what they up against. And so that's preparing them. I have here protect them from family members that are predators. Family. I don't know a family, and I know a lot of them that don't have at least one predator in the family. And this is one of those things that we don't like to talk about at all. We sweep this kind of conversation under the rug. What goes on in the family stays in the family. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I bring this up online, I don't get much participation at all. I have my reasons for thinking that, why that is too. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I think it's a lot more of us that are predators out there than we care to even want to admit. And so, you know what I'm saying, a lot of folks that's on my page may be the predators themselves. And so, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to even talk against themselves. But that's a big thing in our community, in every community, and ain't just ours. Last time I did the numbers, you know what I'm saying? We have the least amount, believe it or not. Imagine that, you know, of people who prey on little children sexually in our own families. And we need to be extremely careful about that. You know that 8 out of 10 cases of child molestation, the predator is a family member or a close friend. 8 out of 10. So we looking outside the door for the boogeyman when they right in the house. And so we need to be doing, instead of not wanting to talk about it, because these things have long-lasting effects, and sometimes for a lifetime. For those who fall victim and don't know how to exercise those energies, because I'm a firm believer that there's nothing that we go through that there's not a solution to the problem. Nothing. We might not know it. You know what I'm saying? We might not have came to the full understanding of what the solution is, but that don't mean the solution don't exist. So when I say to exercise those energies out, I strongly believe that people who carry the residue of being sexually molested as children, they could be cured from all those energies that stay within their bodies and cause it to come out in all kind of different other ways, like promiscuity, or comes out as sometimes they grow up to be predators themselves, sad to say, or homosexuality, or a whole lot of sexual dysfunction. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that stuff stems from the predators in our midst as children. Yeah, and so we got to get real about what's going on and stop sugarcoating things and thinking that if we don't talk about it, that, you know what I'm saying, that just because we don't talk about it, that it's going to somehow miraculously disappear. The problem won't disappear. No, what's going to happen is it's going to exacerbate. So the longer we turn a blind eye and refuse to confront the situation, the worse the problem gets. So I say let's tackle it. Calvin said most of the time it's someone they know. And church is one of the number one places to be molested. Hey, y'all better pay attention. Y'all better pay attention. He ain't lying. Look at the Catholic. They got to hold the Catholic priests. Good God Almighty. Got to hold, you know what I'm saying? You know, that whole scandal thing some years back. Thousands and hundreds or whatever. Is too many to count. Yeah, so it's real. It's a reality, and we don't understand the severity of these issues because these children grow up to be menaces, and a lot of them, not all. You know what I'm saying? There's exceptions to every rule. I'm not painting the whole broad picture saying all, but a vast percentage of a lot of the dysfunction that we find currently in our communities, if you go back to the root of the problem, you'll find it right there. That's real talk. Tariq Nasheed is coming out. That's the brother who did the whole series, the Hidden Color series. He coming out real soon with another one called Buck Breaking. And he going deep. He digging into that. He digging into that. And you can feel however you want about him. He ain't perfect. All of us sick out here, believe if you know it or not. That's another thing we deny. We think we can grow up and live in the belly of the beast with all these sick tentacles and not be touched by none of them. You know what I'm saying? Not only you grew up, but your mama grew up, and your grandmother and your great-grandmother, and all throughout this lineages, we right here with these sick people in this sick society and think that you're not touched by this sickness. And we grow up and like, I turned out fine. Usually the ones who think they're doing just fine are the ones that need the most help. That's real talk. So anyway, back to my notes. Let's see. Muhammad says the real fight is still the battle for the mind. And it's never ending battle from generation to generation. That's real talk. Oh, shoot. Education programs, books, movies, documentaries, beauty concepts of self, social media, etc. are all necessary contributions in preparing young Black people. Thank you for constantly engaging the community on subjects that matter. Yes, sir. That's all I know to do, you know? That's all I know to do. You know, I'll get whipped. If I don't, you know, because I understand how the ancestors work. Protect them from family members that are predators, ask open and find groups for them to, or create them. Yeah, again, just going back to some suggestions I have written down on some things that we can be proactive with, as opposed to just griping and complaining about the problem. We have the power, family. We have the resources. There's no excuses anymore. Not in 2021. Not all this. Not after $2 trillion that's flowing through our hands as Black people here in America. Not being the 8th wealthiest country. If we wanted to consider ourselves a country within a country, Black people in America, we would be the 8th wealthiest country on earth. On earth, there's no more excuses. We got all the resources we ever need. It's just that our minds aren't properly. We aren't our minds are not in the proper place, you know, and that stems from so much trauma and so much abuse and so much dysfunction and so much lack of knowledge of who we are, which is history, really. You know what I'm saying? When somebody strips you from your history and all you know is what they taught you, you ain't speaking your native tongue no more. You're not practicing your native traditions. You know what I'm saying? None of that. You're not even naming your children in the names in which, you know what I'm saying, that they were accustomed to. None of that. And so we are upside down, inside out from the natural sources of who we are. And culture plays such a huge role in that. So we have been stripped of our own and given a foreign culture from another people culture who are dysfunctional and sick. You know what I'm saying? Well, imagine what it takes to chain people, shackle them and chain them and breed them and sell them for 4 centuries. What kind of mindset does that take in order to do that successfully? Okay? And these are the children of the people who've done that. And if you are like your mother used to, and your grandmother could sing like a bird, and here you are, the grandchild can sing as well. How is that possible? It's possible because the geneticism, the genes that go through the line, those same personalities and those traits and all those stuff come straight through the genes. So what makes us think that the same genetic makeup that these people who did that to our ancestors don't come through their line too? And don't carry on down the line too, to the slave owner, to the KKK member, from the KKK member to the police officer. You know what I'm saying? So we have to learn how to connect the dots, family. And the only way we do that is to go back in history and learn and educate ourselves on the truth of the reality of the existence of what we live. So I lost my whole train of thought in that, but I hope you guys get the gist. Yeah. Plug in the homeschool groups for the children. That doesn't necessarily mean that, you know what I'm saying, you got to homeschool your child. That would be ideal. But, you know what I'm saying, I've learned throughout the years that to be more pragmatic about situations. Because I used to be one of those who, like, you know, Malcolm X, only a fool would allow his enemy to teach his children. And it's true, but the practical point of the matter is that becomes difficult for a lot of people, and this ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much we scream it, it ain't gonna happen like that. You're gonna have select few who will do that, and kudos to them. You know what I'm saying? Who will make those sacrifices to teach their own children what they need to know, because that's the best education that they can get. Really, all the studies prove that. You know what I'm saying? We hang on to these minor details like, oh, they need a social life, they need to be around other children and all that kind of stuff. They can get all that by, you know what I'm saying, meeting up with other children and doing other collaborative things, you know what I'm saying? So it's ways around that too. I see that as being making excuses. But long story short, plug in the homeschool groups, meaning get the information, what they teaching their own children. I don't, you know, both my children out of school, but I've been plugged in to homeschool groups because I have a grandchild who's 3 years old, and I'm really, really, really thinking about her future. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, she's not mine to make all the decisions for, but, you know, I can suggest and advise and counsel. And so if I have the proper information to give to my daughter, and if it makes sense to her as well, then we collectively can put her on a better course than she or I had. You know what I'm saying? So that's the goal. The goal is to give our children more than and better than what we had. So plug into some homeschool groups, even if you just go on social media and type in homeschool groups and join and link with some of them. You know what I'm saying? And just pay attention to the stream and watch what they're doing. And you know what I'm saying? And because those things can be inspiring too. Maybe you're not ready just yet. Maybe it's a desire of yours to teach your own children. And so move in that direction. Well, you know what I'm saying? Let me see how it would be. And you join these groups and you ask questions yourself. And you'll be surprised. And that's helpful because a lot of people feel like having homeschooling your own children means you got to be sitting there with them 8 hours a day at the desk. And you know what I'm saying? No, that's the concept that we been conditioned under in public school. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the best concept. You know what I'm saying? But no, children learn in different ways. And so, no, you don't have to be over top of them for 8 hours a day. And they can still, and again, if studies prove that homeschool children fare better in life, learn more and have higher test scores and the IQ, if you follow all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? The homeschool children excel in that way. So there's something to that. Demand better from our artists. Again, I touched on that a little bit earlier. And if you guys are just joining, I'm just talking about some suggestions that I have and getting suggestions from you guys on the stream on what we can be doing more than just griping and complaining online about the conditions that we find ourselves in. Calvin said the church sends buses to the poor black community and we load our children up and don't know who these people are. They still do that? I remember they used to entice us with candy back in the day when I was in the hood. Well, the hood, we didn't go. You know, all my friends, whatever, we went to get the free food and candy, but I couldn't tell you what I learned in them churches how much I was paying attention. And so anyway, but yeah, you don't know who those people are. And Calvin was talking about, when we were talking about the predators in our midst, the predators that are, and you ain't got to go far. You ain't got to go to church. A lot of times the predators be right in the house. I'm just saying, be absolutely and closely monitor your children and talk to them young about that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Talk to them about that kind of stuff. And the younger the better, because these predators, this age thing, that don't make a hill of beans. You know what I'm saying? They start preying on these children as babies. So let the children know what to look out for as well, so they can be better prepared to protect themselves. You know what I'm saying? You can't be around them 24/7, 365. If you give them the proper tools, then instead of them being afraid to tell you, or because the predator then threatened them some kind of way, you know what I'm saying? You can prepare them in advance. This is what they're going to do. But I don't care. They're going to threaten you, and they're going to threaten me, and they're going to say they're going to tell you all the kind of things that they need to tell you, so you won't tell nobody. But you come to me anyway. You know what I'm saying? So we need to talk to our children very early about those kind of things to protect them. Demanding better from our artists. Just again, just speaking up and speaking out when you see something that's destructive, that it ain't gonna do nothing but destroy. They ain't saying or doing nothing uplifting, nothing to build, nothing that's gonna rise us higher, take us to elevated places, nothing. Everything they doing is lowering us, coming, those of us who understand we are village. Again, I'll repeat that again, because there's some of us that are very highly influenced by European culture. And so our minds are warped. And so they hear me talk like this, and they like, what are you talking about? That's your house. You do you, I'm going to do me. What you do ain't got none of my business. And you know what I'm saying? Take care of your child, I take care of mine. That's an individualistic European concept. And that means that person is severely conditioned to think like a European. Okay? So I'm not talking to you if that's your mind state. I'm talking to those who understand that African people are a village people. And it takes a whole village to raise a child. Those African proverbs that are real and that people live by today in certain societies, and they fare better, and they're better off because of that type of culture that they find themselves in. So, demanding better from our artists, and you know what I'm saying, just holding their feet to the fire. What you doing is, I remember I used to be Instagram friends with Puff Daddy before he was making his own transition these days. I'm watching his moves. But before that, and everything he said was raunchy and everything. I got tired of it. But before I got off, I let him know why I was getting off. He may not have seen it at all. I don't know. But I tell you one thing, I'm sure there was some of his fan base did. And I said that, and I typed in there. I said, I was following you, but I'm leaving. I'm removing myself from your space, because everything I see of you that you post is not uplifting. It's just destructive. You know what I'm saying? So don't be afraid to use your voice like that, even if you're just one person, because you never know how far them words can go. And you never know. Those words were meant for him, but you never know who else is reading that and can take that information and use that to benefit their own lives in a better way. So don't be afraid to stand up for what you know is right. If it's righteous, then walk in that. Walk in that, and don't be afraid, and don't be so shy to speak up on that. That's real. We have more power than we think we really do. We have more power than we believe that we have. And until we understand fully, once we understand, I should say, fully, then the sky's the limit. The sky, we hold each other back. We hold ourselves back by believing that we don't have no other choice. It is what it is. Ain't nothing I can do about it. Oh, well, you know what I'm saying? Oh, waiting on somebody else. Ain't nobody gonna help me. You know, all those things like that diminishes your own power, your own superpower. Because if you got melanin, you got superpower. And so, you know what I'm saying? It always was just a small few who changed the dynamics for the many. It's always been that way. You know, you can count them. You know, you can count them on one hand. How many people you could think of that just one person. They had help, of course, but the one person who sparks the flame for everybody else. You know, so don't be afraid to use your voice. I mean, that's all I wanted to say tonight. Hey, James. Hey, Sean. Epigenetics. Yes. Tahara. Stanley. Yeah, Stanley. He says we're mentally constipated. It's in a lot of ways. And then there's a lot of us out there that are also moving in the right direction and doing things. You know, I'm surrounded. Oh, I'm so grateful. And I thank the Creator daily. I'm grateful for the people in my life, and I'm surrounded by warriors. I'm surrounded by intellectuals, people who think on, you know, my father used to say, I remember he used to say all the time, what he used to say, I grew up with giants. He said there was giants around. When he mean that, he meant the mind state, the people that, you know, who he surrounded himself with. And I understand what he mean, because that, you know, just that alone can change things for you just by your associations. Your associations bring on similarities. Associations bring upon similarities. So you can't be around certain people for long without picking up their ways and mores, for good or for bad. You know what I'm saying? For good or for bad. So yeah, that's another thing. You know what I'm saying? So the more people you're around that's positive and moving in a positive direction and getting things done and you know, just out here making it happen, and that's all you're around, that's all you see. And so you pick up on that energy, and there you are, you find yourself moving in that direction too. So yeah, so be careful with the naysayers, the ones that's always humming and drumming and oh, woe is me, and we can't never do nothing, and black people ain't gonna never do nothing and get nowhere, and we ain't that, you know what I'm saying? Be careful with that, too much of that, because that's dangerous too. Because then you find yourself in a place of hopelessness, you know, despair, you know, and once you get into them kind of spaces, it's hard to climb back out. You find yourself in a depression, in a depressive state, you know what I'm saying, just based on what you feed in your mind or what you allowing other people to feed your mind. That's why that TV is so dangerous. I don't even watch it. I don't even turn that thing on. When I turn that thing on, it's on a documentary, although I did, in being truthful to myself, I watched that Oprah Winfrey interview, you know, not to be caught up in the mix, but I wanted to watch her skillfully. Oprah is very skillful. You can say what you want about her. She got her way. You know, there's a lot of us out here who feel a certain way about Oprah these days. And I hear it all, and, you know, I don't negate any of it. But I pay attention. And I wanted to, and I tuned into that more to watch Oprah than anything else in a skillful way. Because, that's part of one of the things that I do is interview, you know. In a skillful way, she was able to ask them questions. She was able to ask them questions to pull out of that girl, those and that guy, the both of them, some of the things that they may not even have wanted to talk about. You know what I'm saying? But the way she skillfully and craftily manipulated the conversation, she brilliant in what she do. Call it what you want. That woman's brilliant in what she do. But anyway, yeah, so I did watch that. And I, for that reason. But, you know, that was the first time I cut my TV on in weeks. Always a great pleasure too, Reggie. Okay, I'm rambling now at this point about other things. But I just wanted to jump on. It was heavy on my spirit. I didn't want to go to sleep with it. And so I wanted to just jump on with you family members and have a conversation. So thank you for hearing me out. You know, I appreciate all of you guys who always support and who always share the comments, and those of you too who challenged me. I appreciate you too. You know what I'm saying? Who challenged me in my own thoughts and views. Because sometimes I can be dead wrong. And you'll challenge me and I see it in a different perspective, and I have to go in a different direction just based on some new information that you give me. So I appreciate all of you guys, and I just want to leave us with keep the faith. Keep the faith, stand strong, you know what I'm saying? Stand firm on the battleground, and you know what I'm saying? And we gonna win this war. There's no doubt in my mind. You know what I'm saying? These beasts may lose battle. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We may lose battles to them here and there, but the overall war is, you know what I'm saying? It's not, you know, we have truth and righteousness on our side. And you know what I'm saying? That's what we have. And that's the powerful force that we come with. And so there's nothing can beat that out. You know what I'm saying? No lies and unrighteous and injustice can beat that out. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta be patient with one another. You know what I'm saying? Have faith. Know there's a higher force. Know there's a force higher than ourselves. Hang on to that rope of whomever you hold on to. If it's the rope of Allah, hang on. If it's the rope of Jesus, that black one, hang on. Yahshua, or, you know, we go down the line. And, you know, the African spirituality, just hang on. And let's stop fighting amongst each other, you know, and know that we're all one. All right, family. Take care of each other out there. Peace and love.